Alright, everybody. This will be Revelations and Warnings and Revelations 49 part. This will be part 5. So I left off part 4. I was talking about the use of witchcraft and its part in our society and part in the end times. It's one of the things that mankind won't give up, and so surely it's prevalent. Like I touched on a lot of the stuff in a lot of the Hollywood and music and these homosexual and lesbian groups and some of these extreme. I couldn't remember the name of them before, but like these Wiccan groups that are also extreme environmental. Go out and sit in circles naked in the woods and stuff type things. Even if you're a partier, just out there and everything, hey, you're not doing nothing wrong. You're just, hanging out, people and stuff, going to parties. If there's drugs involved, eventually you're going to meet somebody into it. Mostly when I ran across it, I was meeting different people and stuff. Somebody, hey, come on over here. We're gonna go over to these people's house or whatever, and go over and hang out and stuff and be there. And then eventually come across, somebody, usually a female, involved in that type of stuff. And I think they're more prone to it. Although a lot of men are into it too. So you're going to come across it, and all I can tell you is stay away from them people. Don't get involved in it. Stay away from it. You never know when one of them's, just you're not going to take a liking to you for some reason or whatever. Maybe they can see some good in you or something, and they're going to put spells on you. And all these older cultures and stuff and everything. A lot of people laugh, because they talk about protecting yourself against evil eye and against evil and stuff. And there's a lot of people jealous out there, and they get so angry at everybody else around them in the world and everything like that they delve into this stuff and try and use it as a tool to get even with people and stuff. There's even, I have no doubt that there's been marriages that have been broken up because people have been using witchcraft against couples because they were envious of the couple and wanted, either just to break it up or because they wanted to have something to do with one of the people in the relationship, in the marriage. I have no doubt that goes on. So, and also, you evangelicals have to be careful. The churches you go to, or especially from these TV preachers and these healers and stuff, they're using witchcraft. I have no doubt about it. They start babbling off stuff and they're trying to tell you they're speaking in tongues and stuff. It's in some, whether it's gibberish or some language you don't understand, get the hell out of there. You don't know what they're saying. I went to one, and it gives me the creeps still to this day. I went to one little church before I came to Islam, and when I was a Christian, hey, I wore a cross and all that kind of stuff and everything. I was having tough times in my life, and was going through a whole bunch of stuff and was reading everything, and even ordering books and stuff from these evangelicals and stuff. Don't do it. It's a waste of your time. They don't know what they're talking about. They're just going to steer you the wrong path into a whole bunch of things. And they're all about the money. And like I said, Judas was stealing from Jesus 10%. These people all want 10% or more of what you got. They'll take every dime you have, and they'll never blink. So you got to watch out for that too. But we went to this little church. Me, my ex, and my son was real little. She said this preacher and his group used to come into a restaurant, and and they were all so nice people and all this, and he had this little church and it's called Wings of Faith and all this, and let's go and see what it's about. He invited us to service, and we went, and I don't know, kind of started out okay, and then they had these other people there who this preacher kind of apologized for later. But they had one of these song and dance guys that was jumping around, talking about how you got to have faith to be healed and stuff. And there's a woman in a wheelchair sitting next to me, and saying if people weren't getting healed, it's because it was their own fault, they weren't having faith, and all this kind of stuff. And I was expecting any minute for her to be part of the show, actually, at certain points, and get up and walk, and something like that happened. Then there's a woman on the other side of the room stood up and started yelling all this stuff in like she's speaking tongues, and it's like, oh, what's going on here, so anyway, this guy does this whole thing, and then they start playing. It was like music being played backwards. They were playing something, and people were standing up, and they're all talking, like they're speaking other tongue. And I swear to you, it was as satanic as could be to me. It seemed, and it was like, we got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. And I never went back, and it gave me the creeps. Every time I passed that corner where that church was, it was like, holy mackerel, man. I just, the creepy feelings that come over me about, what kind of people are these? What the hell is going on here? So I'm telling you, you got to watch out. Because I guarantee you, if you read the Gospel of Barnabas, you'll never go near a church, especially a church like that again. Never. Because Jesus plainly, peace be upon him, plainly says, when he confronts this thing that everybody is calling them God and the Son of God and stuff, and he plainly says, how he wished Satan didn't have such power over the sinners. So that, calling Jesus God or the Son of God, and that's from Satan. That's Satan's teaching. Jesus never, ever, ever, ever claimed to be God or the Son of God. And he condemned those that call him that. And so, if Satan's inspiring these people to do these things and swear up and down and testify and all this and everything that Jesus is God and Son of God and all these things like that, where do you think those speaking in tongues is coming from? And what's being said there? Stuff that you can't understand. If Jesus condemned all that himself, and said that this is coming from Satan, where do you think the speaking in tongues and all this healing and stuff? It's all through witchcraft and satanic stuff. You can believe me or not, but I'm telling you the truth. Read the Gospel of Barnabas for your own sake and your family's sake. Read the Gospel of Barnabas. So it's this witchcraft is everywhere, and the Antichrist, the Dajjal, he's sure going to be using it big time when he appears. And I think one of the reasons that Gog and Magog were so strong, and that Dul-Qarnain didn't try to completely do away with them and everything, and he said how strong they were, not only in their numbers and stuff, but I think they're probably heavy users of witchcraft, because when the people complained to Dul-Qarnain that they were causing mischief in the land and stuff and everything, that might not just have been by they were brutal, or these warriors and stuff. They might have been into all kinds of black magic and other types of things, and causing the people to go astray and causing all kinds of strife through their witchcraft. So, and I think that's why in the book of Revelations, that's one of the things listed is mankind would not give up their sorceries and their witchcraft. among all the other things, the fornication, the homosexuality, the murders, the thefts, and all those things that are listed. So this stuff is probably, in the pornography industry, it's definitely prevalent there. A lot of those porn actresses and stuff are heavy into this witchcraft stuff. And so are the producers of that stuff and everything. How do you think they get these, the judges and the politicians to allow the laws to be so lax to get away with the stuff they get away with? Sure, there's a lot of corruption and they pay people off and stuff too, I'm sure. But there's a lot of this dark forces, all mingled together. The perversion and all that, and the witchcraft and all this stuff. They're all the same, coming from the same place. So why wouldn't they run together and be mingled together? All these types of things. So it's like gangs like MS-13 and a lot of these groups south of the border, the drug cartels, they're all into it. It is very prevalent, more prevalent than in this world and being used. And so like, there are things that have happened to me to where it was just like, where is this coming from? Why is this happening? What, how can this be happening? What have I done? It'll make you think you've done something wrong. You're doing the best you can and everything, and that's another thing. I think a lot of these people who suffer mental disorders and who are depressed, have depression and stuff, I think people have put curses on you. I really do. Sure, there's a lot of things in our society and stress and illnesses and stuff that are, from things in the environment and stuff, but I really do believe that a lot of the stuff that happens to people is the result of witchcraft. And I don't think there's enough people aware of that to where they ever bring that into. Sure, years and years ago, you always, there was, if anybody had anything wrong with them, it was a demon stuff. And a lot of it was true. But, no priest with a cross, good old Lucky Charm, a cross that has no power over anything, is gonna, exorcise demons. So there's a lot of that. It was like, just a bunch of deception. So lost my train of thought there, sorry. So, and like earlier I said, like Bahamas, Jamaica, and all. I mean like Haiti. I know it might be going on in Jamaica, Bahamas and stuff, but definitely Haiti, Africa, and stuff like that. It's practiced, and places in Louisiana it's practiced. And maybe a lot of these people don't know they're going to hell for practicing it. Because it's point blank to see black and white in the Quran, where Allah says those who traffic in it are doomed to go to hell. And then you got the Jew Kabbalism and all that and everything going on. They practice it. So I have no doubt that the people in power, Wall Street, the financials, all this stuff, the gangs, the drug cartels, the pornography industry, and all these things are involved. Uses witchcraft and I know I lost my train of thought on, but I know somebody's definitely used it against me, and I know that it has a lot of the effects of it when people are subjected to it. Depression and mental anguish and clouded thoughts. These types of things are part of the effects of what You can know if somebody's been using it on you. Sure, you might have a medical problem. I'm not saying not to get anything medically checked out, but definitely you might want to consider that somebody's been using it on you. And like I said, you need to turn to your Creator. You need to turn to Allah and learn the prayers for protection against that type of stuff. You start praying to Allah and somebody's been using magic against you, and you ask His protection, and you say the prayers, asking for that protection and stuff. I guarantee you start feeling better, and things will get better if you turn towards Allah. Prayer and fasting and stuff. Nothing can stand against your Creator. And if you turn to Him and have Him fight for you, there's no way they're going to win the battle. Allah will win the battle every time. Period. So now I'm going to go back towards in my own life. Okay, so whether she's well, first let me say, women in general, you invite these forces, whether you know it or not, in your lives because of the things you do and the way you dress and stuff. If you dress revealing ways and stuff, you're inviting demonic forces, the jinn, and the music and stuff. And then if you're drinking or going in drugs and stuff, you're inviting these forces around you that are just going to lead you down wrong paths and stuff. I mean, you look at the most vile pornography and stuff, how they get these women to do this and stuff. If they're not led down this path by some kind of dark force and stuff. You couldn't talk a rational human being into doing those types of things and stuff, and they hook them on drugs and they coerce them and all this and everything, and there's a lot of dark magic going on in that industry. So you women especially need to be careful, because you open yourselves up to it more, and I think that's why women are more associated with witchcraft than men are. But men are definitely involved in it too. It's not a one gender only thing. You always hear about witches. Well, witches can be men too. So, but anyway, I wanted to get back on child support, and I'll tell you how this some of this stuff kind of ties into my own personal life here. So anyway, like I was talking about my ex-wife and my divorce, and I think it was the second part of 49 I did, and child support and stuff and everything, and the type of person she is. Like, child support should end. My kid is 18, he's graduated school and all this, and the hoops I got to jump through to get it done, because she won't do a simple thing and sign a piece of paper saying she doesn't object to it ending and having it notarized. That's all she's got to do. She won't do that. So when it was coming time, getting closer to when my child support was going to end, everything had been hunky-dory. She'd been borrowing money, stuff. No, you shouldn't say hunky-dory on my part, but there was no fighting going on, anything like that. Then all of a sudden, and it was like a demonic attack on me out of the clear blue, because here I'd been helping her all this time and everything, and then my son's graduation comes around, and when she tells me, when I say, well, I'm coming, she says, well, are you gonna sit with us, or are you gonna go by yourself? I said, well, who's us? And she tells me that this guy that she had the affair with and was carrying on with, and then shacked up with, is going to be there. And I'm like, what? Why the hell would he be there? And it was like, why are you doing this? What'll happen if I'm anywhere near this guy, if I see this guy, and all this time, when I was giving her money and stuff and everything, a lot. And I want to say this too, in the very beginning, I used to pray for her, to Allah to have mercy, because she didn't know what she was doing and the things she was saying and stuff, that she didn't understand things like I did. And then even during her chemo, You know, I would pray and hope she would got better and stuff and everything like that. You know, in spite of all the things she did to me, you know, and then using me. Anyway, so in the beginning, when a whole bunch of the first times when she asked for money, I said, "What are you asking me for?" Well, I got no one. I said, "Well, where's so and so?" That's his responsibility now. I send my child support to take care of my son, which, by the way, didn't always go for my son. It was going. She had a new car and this and that, living above her means. That's what my child support was going for. And when we were first getting divorced, she said, "Well, I'm," and then she was going to get that settlement from her mother dying. Well, I'm just all the child support. I'm just going to put in an account for our son, to go to school. Well, really? Well, that never happened, did it? So this whole thing, has not only hurt my future, it's hurt his future. And been a stress on his life. If we'd still been married and what the house would be worth now and everything like that, it'd be probably almost paid for, But, before our divorce, we were getting these things in the mail. "Oh, your house been valued at this, whatever." And she'd be, "Oh, let's go get an equity loan." I said, "It's the only reason they value these houses up high like they do is so that you'll be a dummy and go get an equity loan. That and so they can raise the property taxes. There ain't a house in this development worth what they're telling us they are." "Oh, yes, they are, but we should go." And it's like, you're not going to get what you think you're going to get, and it's not going to help us any. "Oh, it'll save us, we can do, if we get this much, we can pay this and this off, and it'll save us this much a month." Really? Well, if you'd stop doing payday advances on my paycheck and giving Wells Fargo $200 a month in fees for doing that, that would save us more than what you're talking about saving by getting an equity loan. Couldn't talk to her. No. And also, hey, if you quit buying all those Coach purses and stuff, maybe we'd have some money. Let's get rid of cable for a couple months, and cell phones for a couple months. We got the house phone and everything. Oh no, couldn't do that. Meanwhile, since everybody drank soda in the house and everything, I went to Home Depot and got a can crusher and would crush cans. And then when I got enough of them together, take them and sell them at the aluminum, scrap place. And get $30 or $40 for the cans and be able to fill my gas tank and stuff once in a while off of that. I'd clip coupons. I'd do whatever. She wasn't willing to lift a finger to do anything. So anyway, so like out of the clear blue, she hits me with this guy's going to be there and all this. And then when I object to it and everything, she's like, "Oh, are you upset that my sister-in-law, her sister, and her husband are going to be there too?" And it's like, I've never had anything against either one of them. Her mom used to rant and rave about, my sister-in-law's husband. The guy worked his ass off, supported her, gave her, pretty much everything she wanted. Yeah, for a while there he drank, but it didn't affect his work life or anything like. And he took off and he'd go hunting. Big deal. He never laid a hand on her. He wasn't that type of guy. Took care of his responsibilities, worked hard, has made a good career for himself. I've never had nothing against him or even really my other brother-in-law, or my other sister-in-law's husband. But that's all I ever heard from my mother-in-law's, bad things about them and oh, how good I am. But then once I started praying and came to Islam and stuff, all of a sudden I wasn't trustworthy or nothing else, all this kind of stuff. So, but anyhow, I never had anything against him, so it was kind of ironic. She puts that in a text, "Oh, do you have something against them being there too?" And it's like, no, I'm not the one who was always bad mouthing them. Her mother did, and she did. Every time she would call and ask for money, I could word for word sit there on the other end of the phone and mime the words that were going to be coming out of her mouth as she said them, because I heard it so many more times before. And she'd go through this whole thing, and then it'd be her effing sister and her effing sister's husband, and this and that, and they won't help her, and this and that, everything. And they're buying a house, and they're doing whatever, and blah blah blah, and you know, all these types of things, and curse them out a blue streak up and down. Yet she's asking me if I'm the one that's going to have a problem with them being at my son's graduation. There's no way to have a problem with them being there. They're family. And they've never done anything wrong to my son or to me. So that was kind of ironic. But all that hit me like so hard. It was just clearly this demonic attack. And then especially all the help I gave her, all the times, I got no one. You know, and I never asked my son. I didn't care about her personal life, if this guy was still in her life or not, and all this and everything. But there was times I told her, I said, you know, you're coming in, I'm giving you all this help and all this money and everything. If I find out you're taking this money and you're giving it to that schmuck or some other schmuck or something and paying their bills and everything, there's going to be hell to pay. You know, so this guy's been around, whether he's been close in her life or whatever, but apparently he's been around enough to be invited to my son's graduation. So where was he when she needed all this financial help? You know, and she used to ask me back when I bring that up way back. She said, well, why should he pay my bills and stuff? Excuse me? Why? What? Are you serious? Why should he pay? You broke it, you bought it. You know, what Al Bundy used to say, you know, you want the milk, but you don't want to pay for the cow, or some shit like that. Something like that. You know, it's kind of like when I confronted him, you know, and put him up against the wall. Confronted him at you know, where he worked. Didn't have it. He didn't open his mouth. He didn't utter a word. He didn't say nothing then. Not a thing. I'd have took his head off if he had. He didn't say a thing. Later on, though, I get a phone call. Oh, what are you coming to my job for and all this everything? You know, I'll meet you anywhere, anytime. Oh, now you're brave. You know, now you're brave. Well, I don't know what you're mad at me for anyway. Excuse me? What? I was dumbfounded. I was thinking to myself, did he just say what I think he said? Why am I mad? You know, it was just like, are you serious? What planet are you from, man? Oh, I think I'll go mess around with some other guy's wife and he won't be mad at all. Who thinks like that? Tell me. Somebody out there tell me who thinks like that. You know, I was like, really, dude? Who am I supposed to be mad at? Well, I'd be mad at her. Well, you know, I think I kind of am. You know, I think I got that covered there. But you don't think I should be, you know, pissed at you? Are you just stupid, or you just that so I don't know, stuck on yourself? You get the big ego. I don't know. You know, it left me dumbfounded. Who thinks like that? What kind of reason is there for somebody to say something like, "Why are you mad at me?" Sure, maybe if you didn't know she was married, you never met me, you didn't know she had a kid and had a, you know, home and stuff. Maybe, you know, hey, you're in some bar somewhere sometime, some woman comes up and, you know, something happens and then bam, there's her husband. Hey, man, I didn't know. Maybe then you got an excuse. You shouldn't be doing that crap anyway. But maybe then you got an excuse. You didn't know. This guy knew for sure. And what are you mad at me for? And I asked her, what kind of jerk off is this that you decided, you know, was going to be better having a relationship with him than your husband of 18 years. This pussy throws you under the bus. That's exactly what he is, a pussy. Any guy that says something like that's a pussy. What are you mad at me for? You should be mad at the woman. Oh, you should be mad at the woman. What are you mad at me for? You friggin' pussy. So, anyway, so she used to ask, you know, why should he pay? You know, well, why should I pay? You didn't want to know how to do it. You threw me away like yesterday's trash. You threw our marriage away like yesterday's trash. You want me to pay your bills? You know, but she would never go into whether he was around or not around. And, you know, I didn't care. Did not care. I've never asked my son about her personal life. Not one iota. Never. Don't care. And like I told that douchebag, you know, your relationship's with her. It's not with my son. Don't try and father up, to my kid or anything like that, because I'll find you and I will finish you. Period. You don't ever raise a hand to my kid, nothing. Your relationship is with her. Period. My son didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for this. Don't think you're going to have anything to do with my son. So then whammo, all these years in this, me helping her and all this stuff and everything. Well, guess who's invited to my son's graduation? And I swear it was such an attack on my senses that I know whether she's voluntarily involved in some kind of stuff in witchcraft or anything, I don't know, or she's just being used by it to do stuff like this, I don't know. But I do know part of the thing, she wanted to cause a fight or something, because like I said, I'd been helping her and everything else. It was coming time for the child support to end. And so when it was time to end, if I got that paper and went to her and said, hey, sign this or whatever, she needed a reason not to sign it. See, it's got to be somebody else's fault. You understand? That's the way she operates. And she always has to have leverage. I'm serious. Any psychologist, anything like that, studied her for a while, would clearly see she's a narcissistic, sociopath. Borderline psychopath. I'm not making this up. This is the way she operates. So, so she wouldn't seem like, she was doing something unfair or anything. She needed to cause some kind of rift to where when I asked to have that signed, she could say, no, when you look at what you said and did about this and everything. I'm not signing that now. But put the blame on somebody else. So she could not be decent and do know what I'm saying? So it wouldn't be obvious, that she's not a decent person, that she wouldn't do the right thing and the decent thing. It's got to be somebody else's fault. She's got to have leverage. And it's the same with when my son's first car. I sent the money, $500 at a time, needed $2,000. So I sent him the money and told him, here, you save this, whatever. So anyway, between her and him, apparently the money got spent, and then he had to get the car, money for the car from his aunt, and supposedly even be paying her back and everything, So, but part of that is, that's leverage on him now. She has to have leverage on him. If he had a car that I paid for, it was in his name totally and everything like that, she got no leverage on him. This way, she could put the car in her name, stuff. Her aunt could keep the car in her name until it was paid for or whatever. But then, like I said, they totaled it because of fender bender and stuff. And so then, through people she knows and all, she goes and gets this other car and stuff. And he's making the payments and paying the insurance and stuff. But it's in her name. And that's going to be leverage on him when he pays the car off. Or to keep him in tow. She's going to have leverage on him. And what's ironic is when I was telling him about, she's going through this thing, she wants me to have to, file and have her served and all this, and it didn't have to be that way and all this. He's like, oh, yes, it does. I said, I heard her on the phone or whatever, and that's the way it is. You got to, and it's like, no. What's ironic about that is he's trying to tell me I'm wrong about just needing that piece of paper signed and all this. Well, just a few days before that, he was telling me about she's always complaining about the data part of their phone bill going up and all this because she won't get unlimited data and stuff. So they're always going over on their data, and he says it's her fault because she doesn't know how to work it and stuff and leaves things on, and the data just accumulates, and so they go over. So she's always bitching about the bill. And he tried to explain to her, we can go to this company, we get this plan and all, and she won't listen. And I told him the same thing about when we had the house. She wouldn't listen about, what its value was and what a buyer's market was. She will not listen. Nope. Always got to be her way, right or wrong. And then after, if she's proven wrong, she says, well, I didn't know. You didn't know? I told you till I was blue in the face for 3 weeks this wasn't going to work the way you thought it was. You didn't know. Just had to be your way, though. Everyone else is stupid. So, but anyways, it was kind of laughable. Here he's telling me, you know, no, you don't know, Dad, and blah blah blah, all this and everything. And it's like, really, just a couple days you were telling me how she won't listen about anything and this and that, and here I am. I'm telling you how it is, and you're not listening to me. Guess you've been hanging out too long with her. Because you're thinking just like her. You won't listen. Somebody can tell you, show you, point blank. Then I asked them both questions. Said, you know, since you both were in such contact with child support, did you bother to tell them I wasn't in arrears? You think I got a reply back in that? Nope. But anyway, this one, I'm going to cut this one off, and I'll take this up on part 6. And you all have a good one, and I'll be right back.